When it feels like the noise around us fills every corner of the day, it can be hard to find a quiet spot to simply breathe. This is 10 Better Minutes, a podcast that shares a handful of recent stories you might have missed, offering a steadier view of the world without pretending everything is perfect. I am your host, Ian Rhodes, and I am glad you have taken a few moments to listen. These stories remind us that life carries more gentle moments than the headlines often show. But first, I want to start with a story about a lost dog in San Francisco Bay who traveled miles before being brought safely home with the help of firefighters, police officers, and drone teams. On July 4th, a small dog named Prieta slipped away and then, according to a worried caller, ran into the San Francisco Bay and kept swimming. The days that followed left her family heartbroken and unsure whether she could be found in time. What changed was a coordinated rescue, driven by people who refused to give up. The Menlo Park Fire Protection District, the East Palo Alto Police Department, and other first responders moved together with an air and sea search. From above, a drone provided GPS coordinates, narrowing the search while teams watched with binoculars along the shoreline. Then firefighter Tyler spotted Prieta in the water and, in one smooth motion, scooped her up and secured her to safety. With Prieta out of the bay and into care, crews checked her over and animal control helped with the next steps. The local SPCA was ready to reunite her with the family she had been searching for. Later, that reunion became more than a happy ending. Prieta and her owner met several of the rescuers at a Menlo Park Fire Protection District board meeting, including firefighters Tyler, Seth, Dan, Carlos, and Alex, along with drone operator Tom. It was a simple moment, full of gratitude, where everyone could see the same truth clearly. Hope, in the end, has a practical form. It looks like teamwork, quick decisions, and people showing up, right when the story needs saving. Sometimes the difference between passing by and changing a life can be something as simple as trusting that first, quiet feeling that says, "Stop and look closer." Randy Gerlach, a 16-year-old driving to work in Morrison, Illinois, noticed a vehicle sitting in a ditch on a country road. At first, it was easy to think maybe it was just a rough moment that did not need interruption. Then he turned around in town and went back to check. When he got close, he found an unconscious woman behind the wheel. Instead of waiting for someone else to handle it, he called 911 and made sure emergency responders knew exactly what he had seen. Those minutes mattered, and help arrived quickly enough to give her the chance she needed. In the end, doctors told Randy that the timing likely made all the difference. If she had gotten to the hospital about 20 minutes later, her chances would have been far slimmer. That is such a startling reminder that courage can be ordinary. Not grand heroics, not speeches, just one decision to pay attention and act. And honestly, it gives me hope, because it suggests that kindness does not always live in faraway places. Sometimes it shows up right on the road, asking you to turn around. It is not often you get to hear a conservation effort measured in something as simple and tender as chicks in a nest. And this time, the story is unfolding in Gujarat, with Indian gray hornbills making steady, hopeful returns. Conservationists initiated a strategic reintroduction program in 2021, but the work was never just about bringing birds back. In Gir National Park, they focused on years of habitat restoration and careful protection, so the hornbills would have what they truly need to raise a family. These birds depend on mature native trees with suitable nesting hollows, and they also need nearby fruit for a reliable food supply. Over time, those details mattered because breeding is quiet when it happens right, and then it becomes hard to ignore. For the fourth year in a row, nesting gray hornbill pairs have been recorded raising chicks in Gujarat. By now, the birds are estimated at around 40 individuals and counting, and the signs point toward breeding in a self-sustaining way, without the expectation of ongoing future reintroductions. In a landscape that has to hold many lives at once, This feels like the kind of progress that does not need a spotlight. It simply needs enough time, enough protection, and enough care for the ordinary requirements of a nesting pair. Imagine a housing space that starts with one small, ordinary power move. A door you can close, a light you can control, and a corner that feels like yours. That is the gentle premise behind a mobile refuge room being developed to support safer, calmer reintegration. Designing Justice and Designing Spaces, along with its partners, co-created a prototype with a community design team of formerly incarcerated people. In Oakland, Designers on Deck workshops met in church halls, where lived experience shaped what refuge should feel like in real rooms. The prototype itself is 2 pale wood mobile units, with a Murphy bed tucked away to open up floor space, a fold-down desk for everyday paperwork and planning, and books, plants, and family photos that bring home into the design. Inside, there is no guard station, no forced roommate, and no harsh fluorescent glare. Leaf patterns are laser cut into the wood, and the units are digitally fabricated to flat pack, so local assembly is possible and practical. The plywood prototype first appeared as part of the Cooper Hewitt Making Home exhibition. After that, 2 units moved to New York, to the Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice and to Pratt Institute's Interdisciplinary Technology Lab, where they are being refined for the next step. Now the team is working toward a planned pilot of 6 to 10 units, aiming for a model that pairs affordability with meaningful employment for people with lived experience. It is a reminder that when people are invited to design their own stability, hope can take a shape you can walk into. Have you ever wondered what it looks like for nature to respond with patience, not perfection? This is the story of Jimothy, a raccoon in Seattle who became a brief but powerful internet celebrity after a viral Instagram post in July of 2026. Jimothy is unusually shaped, with a very short body and tail and a curved back. In the outdoors, those differences can mean real limitations, and the article notes he has not been officially examined by a veterinarian. He is believed to have short spine syndrome, a name that reminds us how much still depends on what the body can adapt to, day by day. Even so, the key need was simple and urgent. A young wild animal needed steady care and practical teaching to keep moving, learning, and staying safe enough to grow. The uplift comes from his mother, who is caring for him as a single parent. She continues to look after him while moving the litter between dens, foraging efficiently, and modeling behaviors that help him navigate obstacles in his environment. Instead of trying to force an ordinary path, she supports an able one that fits his body, his pace, and his world. By the end of the week, Jimothy was still alive and able to move through his surroundings, and his story traveled far beyond Seattle. The viral attention even helped raise more than $50,000 for charity, turning one small life into a reminder that devoted care and adaptable brains can make room for hope. As always, I have a helpful little reset for your mind and a way to notice more ease in the world. Today, we are focusing on language, the words you choose and the ones you hear. Because language does not just describe your life, it shapes how livable your life feels while it is happening. Try this simple reflection. When something goes wrong, pause for one breath and ask, what story am I telling right now? For example, instead of nothing ever works, soften it to this did not work yet. Instead of I am failing, try I am learning and I can adjust. Notice how these shifts do not erase the problem. They just make the next step possible. And with other people, use language that leaves doors open. Swap you always for lately I've noticed. Swap why did you for help me understand. You are not forcing positivity. You are choosing clarity over blame. Over time, your vocabulary becomes a kind of home. It helps you return to yourself faster. It turns pressure into something workable. So tonight, listen to your inner voice for one sentence and make it a little more kind and a little more true. We made it to the end of today's episode, and I just want to say thanks for spending this time with me. If you are feeling worn down by all the noise, I hope these 10 better minutes leave you with something simpler to hold on to. That kindness still shows up, people still choose decency, and quiet hope is real, even when it is easy to miss. If you want a little more of this to come back to, please follow or subscribe. New episodes are posted every day, and it can be a gentle way to clear some space in your day. This is Ian Rhodes with 10 Better Minutes. Take care, and I will see you tomorrow.